8th episode of the Life Story Podcast. Today we will be reviewing another one of Bubba's essays, Truth and Facts, A Young Fool.
Okay, here we are again with another episode, number 8.
Yes.
So much fun.
We get ice cream at 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So who has read this one, this essay?
I scanned over it.
Not me.
Okay.
I did the quick read.
All right. What do you guys want to start?
Maybe
At the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning.
Okay.
And the beginning is the story.
So you want to just go from one paragraph to the next?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Maybe at the end of each paragraph, we should review the paragraph.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, does anybody want to read the first paragraph?
Me.
We'll go oldest to youngest.
Okay, we'll go in age order. Then Makanaka will go first.
As a young fool, filled with resentment and no love, I once learned to despise my father and loved only my mother. This is an unfortunate fact. It is also a terrible truth. There came a time in my life when I had more bitterness for my father at a time when we both desperately needed to be loved by the other. This is the truth.
So I've edited this. It used to be like 4 pages. Now it's only maybe a page and 3/4. And the title comes from when I was a young person, maybe Makanaka's age.
13.
Yeah. And I earned myself a nickname. And my siblings used to call me Mr. Facts. Because I thought I knew everything.
It is a curse.
So I went through that phase where I thought everything that I knew was the truth, like was the gospel. And that's because, when you read so many books, when you get to that age, or when I was at that age, and I read so many books and I had so much knowledge, I was convinced that I knew everything. That's a curse.
I know some people who qualify
Yeah.
for a Mr.
Mr.
Facts.
Facts. Do we need a Mr. Facts award or a trophy?
I know who it would go to.
Makanaka.
Maybe right now he's the most
It's not
undeserving.
It is not a compliment.
It's not something you want. So when I use the thing here, this is a fact and that's the truth. I was really just being poetic in my writing. But the first paragraph, I really had time to think about it. Because at the time when this happened, I wasn't 13 years old at all. I was older than 21. That was when I had moved to America, and something happened in Zimbabwe. Something bad happened. So, there was trouble. I don't know what happened between Gogo and Sakuru. Something bad happened. And I don't have all the facts, but something bad happened. And when that thing happened, my parents, your grandparents, who had been living together, all of a sudden they could not live together. So Gogo had to move out of the house. And she had to go live with Teta Preshi at one point. And then she lived with Teta Gwen, and she had to live in an apartment for a long time. I think this time period was even before I met you, right?
Yeah.
Then it was before I even met your mother. Remember last week we talked about, not last week, last episode, I told you guys about how when Sakura came to the United States, and I went and I met him in Texas and took him to his doctor's appointments. How I regretted that because there are no good memories from that time, and I don't even have any pictures from that time. So this is around that time. Gogo came to America for our wedding. Sekuru did not come, and when I think about that, I regret how I was feeling. Sekuru made a choice. He made a bad choice. But I also had a choice to make. And sometimes forgiving someone who hurts you deeply and someone who's done something that hurts the people that you love, it's not easy. Sometimes that's not an easy thing to do. When I think about this first paragraph, when I say, as a young fool filled with resentment and no love, I learned to despise my father and love only my mother. And I could justify that in my mind. I could justify that in my heart. Because the way she was treated and the way that she was hurt, that pain felt very personal. So, but now when I think about it, I am a Christian. I am God's child. And even though this was a very, very difficult time, I think I did the wrong thing when I pushed my father away the way I did and did not communicate with him for years, did not call him on the phone, did not talk to him, did not send messages, did not ask people how he was doing. And that's why that's why I call myself a fool in this situation. Because towards the end of his life, when things were getting better, I was asking myself this question, like, could I have done something different? And the answer is yes, I could have done something different. I could have loved him better. I could have told him how I felt. I could have just said, what you did was wrong. But instead, I just stood in my own emotions and made a choice that I regretted and still regret to this day.
Did you ever get to tell him that you forgave him?
I don't remember. I know that some of my siblings got a chance to talk to him about the way they felt. And I know that him and Gogo got a chance to work things out towards the end. And I know he regretted what he did because he said as much to Gogo and to others that his actions that he took were bad, and he could not understand himself why he would let whatever bad feelings that were inside of him, why he would let those lead him to do what he did. But I never talked to him, not that I remember, about that time. I think in a way I might have said something, but I never saw him face to face. I might have said something as in, what you did to Amai hurt me. And maybe that's why we haven't talked for a long time. But I actually don't remember having that conversation with him. I hate being like forgetful, because that's an important thing that I wish I knew for sure.
Do you remember me telling you, like when we were first married, that you needed to talk to him?
It sounds sounds like something that you said, but I also really don't remember. But my memory from my relationship about my father and what I thought about him during, I don't know how many years that was. It's almost like I've blocked most of that. I don't remember everything. But if you say you told me, I think you would be right. You would be correct. I think you did tell me that.
I did multiple times, but every time it was about like you didn't say I'm justified in my feelings. Like, and of course anyone's feelings would be justified, but that was the message that was got across was I'm right to feel this way. And this is what happened. And end of story. So, I mean, that was just like the first couple of years of marriage. And then I just let it go because I figured it wasn't me that could pressure you to make some sort of decision. I don't know that if I ever actually prayed and was like, God, you're going to have to work in this situation or not. But at some point I stopped talking about it.
Oh, today I wish you had pushed me a little bit harder to do something about it. I know I was very stubborn.
Yeah.
And I would have fought you. And like you said, I would have told you that I was.
Well, on a lighter note, you felt the same way about the dentist and you absolutely refused to go for years and years. So I stopped talking about it. And guess what?
Hey, I finally went to the dentist.
Yes, one day you came home and said, I'm thinking of that. Can you make me an appointment? I don't know if I made your appointment.
Yes, you did.
And I was like, do I say something or will he then decide, never mind, I'm not going to the dentist?
Yeah.
Mr. Fax was stubborn.
Yeah.
He was still Mr. Fax when I met him in some ways.
Hey, Tendakai, what's up?
What was it that your father did that was bad?
I don't know the actual story that led him to do what he did, but the end result is that Gogo had to leave the house where they were living together.
Did your brothers and sisters ever tell you a bit of what happened in the house?
It was unclear why he felt the way he felt, but he was increasingly unhappy about something, and I don't know what. And he thought Gogo was the reason why you felt that way, or things were going the way they were going for him.
Oh, have you ever wondered it? Well, have you ever thought of asking Gogo the story about what all happened?
I think we can ask Gogo if we ever get the chance, and I may ask her again. I try not to ask her about that part because I don't think it's a part of the life that she wants to remember or relive. It was not a beautiful time.
I thought that at some point when we were living at our old house that you had talked to Sakura.
Yes, there came a moment in time when I started speaking with Sakura again.
Yeah, because I remember, I think it was the first time I remember, it might have been the first time you talked to him, but you sound like you were having a really good time, like you were laughing and stuff and smiling.
Yeah, I think when I started talking to him, it was after Uncle Farai had gone to Zimbabwe a few times, or the first time, and he was able to visit with Sakura, and they were talking, and so I called Uncle Farai and I was talking to him, and then I talked to Sakura, and after that, I called Sakura a few times because he kept telling people, hey, tell Gordy to call me. He kept asking for me to call him. So I called him a few times after that. And I told him all about you guys. He knew about all of you. I think even after the twins were born, I talked to him about it, about the kids. So towards the end of his life, yes, I was talking to him. But if you remember that, if you're old enough to remember that would have been, I mean, how many years ago at the old house? 7 years ago?
Well, it depends.
He died in 2018. We moved into that house.
We've been in this house for four
yeah.
years.
Man, yeah, I was talking to him at some point, and he loved it, and I started to get over my bad attitude. All right, so Nyasha, you can read the next paragraph.
The truth lives in the light. Facts can convince a man that the darkness has many faces, that the pain inside the heart justifies hate, revenge without remorse. Facts can convince a man that there are only two choices in every struggle, the simple choice between two evils. Facts can lead a man down a path of darkness with a smile on his soul. But love is a truth that never fails. Love still conquers a multitudes of sin.
So I don't know, when I think about some of what I'm trying to say here, is that if you just take a sentence, like I've told you guys this one story, and I tell you someone tried to kill someone, you can be like, oh, that's a bad thing, you know. You may even convince yourself, I hate that person. And those two things are bad. One does not justify the other. Someone who does something bad does not justify you doing something bad in return. And I think when we forget to love and we just focus on, I'm hurting and that pain that I'm feeling is real, then I may not take responsibility for my actions. And I think that's what happened to me. I got blinded by, I was given all these facts about what had just happened in Zimbabwe, how our happy home had been torn apart, how my mother was struggling, how she was homeless. And if I check all these facts line by line, I can build a mountain and shield myself and shield the bad feelings, the bad attitude that I have. And when you do that, the way I did it, you know, you just kind of close the light. You know, we've had even in church, we've had teachings on bitterness and how bitterness is a weight. It's a heavy weight. And it hurts you more than the thing that you're really angry at or the person that you're bitter about. And when you get to that point, sometimes it's even hard, like your mother and I are talking about. Sometimes it's even hard to listen to someone who's trying to tell you you are hurting yourself. You are spending so much energy being angry and unhappy. And the person that you are unhappy with may not even know that. Okay, Panashe, it's your turn.
Third paragraph.
Facts can be weighed, but love has power to bear all things. How I wish the younger me had chosen more truth over facts, chosen healing over hate. I might have loved my father better. I certainly would have loved him more, would have forgiven him so more easily. The man had his faults, made many bad, terrible mistakes. Forgiving him was hard, but loving him should be the easy choice.
Should have.
Should have been the easy choice. If only I had called him one more time on the telephone just to talk. Then I would have less pain in my heart now that he is gone. I would have less regret each time I think about him. I am ashamed of the younger me. A man cannot make peace with the grave, not even one arrayed with beautiful headstone. I get sad when I think about all that I have lost.
So you guys will see whenever we go to Zimbabwe that Sekuru's grave is decorated with this beautiful, very, very beautiful headstone or tombstone. It's got a picture of him, and since he used to paint cars like Uncle Farai does, he's got a picture of a spray gun, and it's got a beautiful message on it. I don't know what to call those messages on the headstone.
Script.
Okay, maybe a script. And me and my siblings, we put that together. Your mother and I went to see him after he was buried, and then when we came back, we worked with my siblings, and we sent money and we paid for the headstone, and everybody came to the dedication. We couldn't go. I couldn't go. But nothing that we have done since he's passed away can make up for all the things that I missed out on. So when I think about the younger me, I'm not even thinking about the younger me as a teenager. I'm thinking about the younger me when I have a family, the younger me when I have a job, the younger me when I have responsibilities, the younger me. It's not that long ago when I could have made different choices. So this story, what did Panasha call it again?
A script?
No, not the story. He said it sounds like the last one.
The pity party.
Like the pity party one. So I think, unfortunately, when I think about my father and my relationship with him in this instance, I do end up, feeling a little bit sad for myself. And yeah, maybe it feels like I'm throwing myself a pity party. But you guys are young, and hopefully our lives will be such that I don't ever do anything that hurts you like my father did to our family. But even if I did something that you're like, well, how could you do that? And I'm not planning on doing it. I have no intentions of doing it. The bigger lesson here is, for me, is if I had loved him, like I said, if I had loved him, if only I could have loved him better. But let's say I could not have loved him better. Let's say I don't know what that means. But if I could have loved him more, if I had spent more time loving him, we could have had these discussions where I would have told him, you hurt me, you hurt us. But all of that could have been done in love. I believe I would be more at peace with my relationship with him than I am right now. Yes, Tendakai.
Tatenda.
Oh, Tatenda.
Was your father buried somewhere where other people were buried, or in a backyard?
Both?
It kind of sounds like both. Yes. So if you go to the village, you will notice that we bury our people in the village. Especially people who grew up in the village. It's easy for them to be buried in the village because they have a connection with the village. So their burial places. Where Sekuru was buried, he was buried next to his mother. So my grandmother, you remember Chumboya? Yes.
Your grandma?
My grandmother, your great grandmother Chumboya, was buried on this little anthill place.
Like a termite mound.
Like a termite mound, yes. And Sekuru wanted to be buried at his mother's feet. So a few weeks before he actually died, he took one of the guys in the village, because Sekur was in a wheelchair. And so he told this guy in the village to push him to where his mother was buried. And he pointed to the spot at the foot of his mother's grave. And he says, when I die, I want to be buried right here at my mother's feet. So that was something he said, knowing that he was going to die at some point. He didn't know he was dying or he was going to die soon, but he was just talking about, these are my wishes. Whenever I die, I want people to know I want to be buried here. There's another termite hill where my grandfather is buried, and that's where most of the family people get buried. But my father wanted to be buried by his mother, so that's where he's buried. It's actually kind of behind my brother's house. My brother Nkululeko.
Like a garden place?
What?
Like a garden place?
I wouldn't call it a garden place. No, it's in a little fenced area.
Yeah, we saw on the picture.
Oh, so you saw it in the pictures?
Yeah.
Okay, Chandeka, do you feel like reading?
Yes.
Okay.
My father came to a visit in America in 2004.
2004.
In 2004. He came along with my cousin Edmore, and we visited for a time while he was staying in Dallas with my brother Farai. I had the chance to mend things with him, but I did not. Sadly, I do not remember much from this time period. My bitterness from the pain he had brought into my life blinded me. I was very proud of myself and quietly hoped that he was impressed with how I turned out. I acted like a son should have. In truth, I was lost, soul, a coward, and a fool.
So
I acted not like a son should have.
In truth, I was a lost soul, a coward, and a fool.
I was just full of pride. And pride, they say, comes before a fall. And sometimes when you think about pride coming before a fall, you think, oh, right away when you do something that just shows you're being full of yourself, something bad is going to happen. But in my case, I think the shame that I feel right now is part of the realization that I wasted a good opportunity, a golden opportunity. I know my father loved me. I have no doubt about that. And I know that from growing up, we're not that kind of family that, says, I love you all the time. You guys get told that you're loved more by your mother almost every day. It's time to go to bed. Can I get a kiss? You get shown affection.
And us siblings will say the Shona word for I love you and good night.
Yeah.
Sometimes yelling it across the landing.
Yes. I mean, you're growing up in a home where telling someone that you love them or being told you're loved is just part of the life. It's destructive. When I was growing up, my father would say something like, I love all my children, or you guys know I love you, you're my children and I love all of you. So it's not like he actually ever said he didn't love us. When I was in boarding school, he came once, to see me, and he would tell me how happy he was, to see me at school, to see how well I was doing. And he always had good things to say to me. His actions that led to the collapse of our family were out of character in terms of how I knew him as my father. If I had taken the time, I believe that if I had taken the time to just have good conversation with him, just show him a good time, I think he would have told me still that he was proud of me. But I think I made a fool of myself, and I made a mess of things, because all I really did with him was I took him to his doctor's appointments. I took him shopping. I told you guys about the sweatpants. But I didn't take him around my friends. I didn't take him to the places that I like to go to. I didn't do anything like fun with him. I don't even know where he was sleeping when he was in America. I don't know if he was sleeping at Uncle Farai's house, if he was sleeping at Lee's house. That's why when I'm composing this essay, I'm like, sometimes head knowledge, what's in your head, the things that you think you know, they fill you up, and there's no place for where your heart should be. And there's a danger in that you forget. You forget to love people. You forget, like, if I had taken the chance, I might have reminded my father what a happy family we once were. But, because of my pride and my arrogance here, trying to show off, the things that I would have showed off at the time, I was driving a fancy car at the time, but I don't even have that car anymore. I don't even miss that car anymore. But I do miss my father. So if I had my heart in the right place, I probably would have thought about all the things that my father meant to me, and I would have done a better job of being a son to him.
I think maybe the only good time of that visit he had at America was actually the sweatpants. Like, that's because I know you said he really, really liked those.
He really liked those. And I think the last time before I went to Zimbabwe when my father was alive, I went and bought him a jacket, didn't I? He asked for a jacket.
I can't remember.
And he asked for a jacket, and I think I went to Target. Might have gone to Kohl's because he wanted something warm, because the sweatpants came with the jacket, but he didn't have the top part anymore. So he wanted something else to keep him warm. And he was like, yeah, tell Goldwood to buy me another one. He knows what I like.
Fifth paragraph.
I guess that's the tender.
When I left Zimbabwe for a life in the United States, my father had only one piece of advice for me. Do not forget your parents. That is all he had to say. These little words that have influenced my life way more than many others. My inner foolishness has walked up to and trampled over these words in so many ways throughout my life. and for that I am ashamed. It's sad how easily I forgot to take heed to this simple warning. To love this man, God given me everything that I ever needed. Mothers and fathers are not perfect, but more often than not, their love is unbeatable.
So imagine this table where we are sitting at right now. This is how big our dining room table was. The funny thing is we never sat at that table to eat dinner. Only my father ate dinner at this table. This huge table, big enough for 7 people. And my father was the only one who actually sat at the table to eat. So when I was leaving, the day before I got on the plane to fly to the United States, I'm sitting kind of where Makanaka is sitting. Imagine that's our house. So I'm sitting over here, or where Makanaka is sitting. My father is sitting on his favorite chair across from me. So there's a chair that he sits on. And the house is packed. Everybody knows this is my last night in Zimbabwe. And so we're talking, we're singing songs, we're praying. You know, I sang my favorite song, Abide With Me. You guys know that song, that hymn. He sang it in Shona. And everybody is telling me all these wonderful things about America. You're going to go to America. It's a land of opportunity. Work hard. Your dreams can come true. Your brother Farai will be waiting for you. Just everybody had so many things to say. My father only said, these are 3 words in Shona. Maybe they're actually 2. Usa kanganwe wabereki. That's all he said. That's why it's easy for me to remember. And that simply means do not forget your parents. And those words, those 2 or 3 little words, sometimes they have haunted me when I feel like I'm not doing enough. And sometimes that's what motivates me. Because, of course, my father is passed away now. And I know it's my responsibility to take care of Gogo, who is your mother. And that is the only charge that he ever gave me. To never forget my parents. And like I said, these little words have influenced my life way more than many others. I can think of all the times when I have failed miserably to live up to that one little. It's a command, it's a request, it's a heartfelt, pleading. I don't take it as a mere suggestion. And I say here, mothers and fathers are not perfect. And I think, again, back to my facts, I would have justified my behavior because I would have said, well, if you gave birth to me, if you're the reason why I'm here, then why are you not doing A, B, C, D to just keep me happy? But at some point, as an adult, which you guys are children, at some point, I also have to accept that I am your father, and there are times when I haven't made the perfect choices for you. But I still would like to know regardless of those things, that I am loved by you. That my love for you is unconditional. I believe his love for me was unconditional. I should have loved him, and I should have worked with him throughout all the disappointments and all the hard things that, even if he brought them into my life. Okay, Vanessa.
Was that saying one of your motivations for life story?
Not really. Not really one of my motivations for life story. But for life, just in general, to do the right things. Like, when Gogo was here and she was sick.
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy. We had to make some sacrifices. It was hard, right? You guys don't know how hard it was. Your mother spent so many nights in the hospital with Gogo.
Did she sleep?
Your mother, I don't know if she slept in the hospital, but she spent nights in the hospital.
On a recliner.
But I did not spend the nights in the hospital. But whatever decisions we were making, there were, for me, it brought that to my mind that I cannot forget to take care of my mother. Even though my father, did not preach a big message about it, he just said it as a simple thing. In my heart, I just knew that was the right thing to do. Okay, I think we're down to the last. Steph, do you want to read it?
No, you should.
Okay, I'm going to read the last paragraph. All that my father asked for me was some kind of unconditional love. My self-righteousness cost me a lot of good memories over the years. I could have forgiven all and loved my father. Love would have taught us to heal our wounds. I hope that nothing in this life should cause my own sons and my daughter to despise me the way I dealt with my father. I cannot imagine living my life without their love. I know now that a good parent never forgets to love a child, even when a foolish child can justify not loving their parent. I don't claim that all the parents in the world have perfect love for their children. But I know that I love you guys. And as I already said, I wouldn't want to go through this life being unsure of your love for me. It doesn't have to be, shown by you guys doing great, expensive, out of this world type of displays of love. But like my father commanded me, I just want to go through this life knowing that my place in your hearts is secure. That you care about me. Of course, that you care about your mother. That if I need you, I can call you. It doesn't have to cost me money or cost you money. If I just need my child in my life, that I know I can depend on that. Because there's gonna come a day when, Lord willing, if I live to be 80 or 92 as Nyasha is prophesied, if I live to be that old, I may just need my family. And I think that's more wonderful than any of the other accomplishments that may come with this life. So don't be a fool. Don't depend on facts only, even if they're staring you in the face. And at the end of the day, no, they say love conquers all. Do you have anything to add, Steph?
I don't have, excuse me. I don't have any comparable circumstances from childhood or growing up. But I can remember a time when I didn't despise a parent, or I didn't find myself feeling like I couldn't be bothered. But I remember a time when I thought I was all that in my own mind. Like, and I wonder if it's something that a lot of children go through, or teenagers or young adults, when you become self-assured and you think that you've got it all figured out and you don't need your parents. I think that would be a normal thing that probably a lot of young people go through. And even that very minor time period, or that very minor episode in my life, I even look back to that and I regret the way that I, not the way I handled things. Well, maybe I regret the way I handled things. I regret the attitudes that I was having at that time, because now that I have quite a number of more years and more experiences and am living life as an adult, and I am a mother, and it does make you look back with a huge sense of appreciation for what, or it makes me look back with a huge sense of appreciation for what my parents gave to me. So I think that, if anything, yours is a cautionary tale. Like, everyone might go through this phase of just a normal phase of, now I'm grown and I'm doing my own thing, or I'm trying to make my own decisions. But yours is a cautionary tale to not let hurts, even very legitimate hurts, sow a seed of bitterness that can just grow until it's mushroomed out of control. Leaves you regret later on. I don't know if that's very coherent, but that's just what I was thinking.
That makes sense to me. I mean, I've talked about I want to fight you so I can watch TV, period. So that's my 14-year-old thinking I can turn the volume just so to where no one else will be bothered. And that was just that period. But yeah, I agree with you. Everybody kind of goes through the growing pains of trying to establish, their own footprint. Like, I know things now, but
I think mine would have started not so much like teenager, preteen. For me, it was more when I started making actual decisions on my own. So 17, 18, and for sure by 19, like, I'm grown, I'm making my decisions. And you have to do that. I don't suppose, there are people that don't fly the coop, I suppose, and they don't make decisions on their own, but you have to make those decisions and such. You do have to grow up, but I think you can do it without suddenly feeling like you don't need your parents.
Okay. All right, so that's the essay for this episode.
brought to you by Marley, who would rather be chasing a rubber toy and distracting everyone.
Okay. So, how do we conclude this one? Okay, Makana.
Thank you for listening to the 8th episode of the Life Story Podcast. We hope you enjoy it, and you can find us on a whole range of apps that Bubba can probably list somewhere because I don't know all of them.
Yes, too many.
I'm not the complete Mr. Facts guy.
Okay.
On
Facts.
this one subject.
Or we can just say facts. Okay, Tendekai.
Thank you for listening to the 8th episode of Life Story. I am the facts guy.
Okay. Believe me, your time will come. All right, I think.
But I am not like Bubba, stubborn and a fool.
Okay.
Maybe
are a
a
fool.
fool sometimes. Just some.
And stubborn.
No.
I think we have everything we need.